You, Josh.
Thank you, Jennifer. And I appreciate everybody coming out tonight. I apologize. I am actually standing in my bedroom. Every private nook and cranny in my house right now has been taken over by kids on computers, wives on computers. So I got the short straw and ended up in my bedroom. So I apologize if the light behind me is blinding you. I've never actually tried to do a webinar in my bedroom. So I appreciate you humoring me. Jennifer, I want to thank you for setting up this evening. I appreciate all the energy it took to coordinate tonight. And finally, I want to thank everybody that decided to come and join us tonight. I appreciate everyone taking their time out to listen to what we're doing. And 2021 was a really great year for the Trail Conference. And the last edition of the Trail Walker does a phenomenal job of highlighting our accomplishments. So I'm not going to try to replicate it. And everything that we did last year was incredible. Given all the challenges, given all of the obstacles to success, the organization really rallied behind the mission and rose to a level that we've never seen before. So this year in 2022, it's going to be really hard to surpass 2021. And for those of you that were on a little earlier, some of the highlights of last year, I think Jennifer and Sue were talking about it, was we actually got to celebrate our centennial. Not too many organizations can get to their 100-year mark, but more importantly, through all of the challenges of COVID and everything that was going on, we were able to have an in-person celebration to commemorate everything that this organization has done for the past 100 years. And for those that were there, my hair has grown back very nicely. I've actually gotten a haircut since the centennial celebration. For those that weren't there, I had a very unfortunate mishap with a razor the night before the gala and was completely clean shaven before the event. My wife, I think, lost about 10 years on her life when I came home from an event with my son and had no hair left on my head. So happy to report that the hair is growing back nicely. 2022 is really going to be something that we take pride in. And as we've reported in previous town hall meetings, going back to 2020 and last year, we have finally turned the corner and become fiscally sustainable. The final accounting for the year is not complete. Our treasurer and CFO are still working on wrapping things up, but the preliminary reports that we are getting back in are telling us for the first time since 2016, we will have a positive operating income balance. So again, like I said earlier, that's a testament to our supporters, our members, everybody in our family and community that has prioritized the Trail Conference, has appreciated our work, and has realized the importance of this organization. In 2022, we're going to continue our legacy of being collaborators and conveners of like-minded organizations with the goal of providing safe and sustainable and memorable experiences on trails for the public. An example of what we're going to be doing in this coming year is going to be to continue to work with the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation. The DEC has convened a new trail stewardship working group, and that group's goal is to provide feedback to the department as they examine and revise policies and guidance related to trail construction on forest preserve properties. This working group is going to be providing feedback on the development of trail design and construction specifications for all trail uses in both the Adirondacks and the Catskills. And I'm really excited that we're going to have this opportunity to help DEC look at existing policies and give them guidance on trail construction and tree cutting, and really help them create a more sustainable and a better place to recreate on the lands that DEC is charged with protecting. We're also going to be able to give them feedback on how to develop more robust work plans and provide a more transparent public comment process. A big part of DEC's job is to steward those lands for the public. So we're really excited that DEC is open-minded and really wants to get the public involved in maintaining and managing their lands. A lot of this is coming from recent lawsuits that were focused on trail construction in the high peaks up in the Adirondacks. So we're really encouraged to see that DEC is going to be reviewing and amending its approach to trail building. The Trail Conference is also serving on the Catskill Advisory Group. And this group is working collaboratively, again, with about 20 other organizations to figure out how to balance the increased use in the Catskills and make it a sustainable, enjoyable area to recreate for future generations. This group has come up with a interim report that is out for public comment. But one of the recommendations that we made in that report was that the forest preserves each needed to have their own dedicated planner and advisor and staff that were solely focused on the Catskills and the Adirondacks. And about 2 or 3 weeks ago, the DEC commissioner announced that they were going to be creating those 2 positions and staff them with existing DEC staff. So we're really encouraged to see that the DEC is listening to stakeholders, that they're listening to the groups that care and are passionate about our open spaces and are taking positive steps in implementing our suggestions. In 22, we're also going to be taking, as an organization, our attention and focusing on the long path and our other long distance trails. So, for example, we've begun the search for a new staff position that is going to be dedicated to supporting both the long path, the Highlands Trail, and the Appalachian Trail in both New York and New Jersey. The goal of this staff person is going to be to help make these trails destination recreation opportunities in both states. We have the opportunity now to really enhance the support from our partners to bring overnight camping facilities on the Highlands Trail, to get more attention to land protection on the long path, and the Appalachian Trail. We know we want to try to leverage that opportunity for our organization. Over the past 1.5 years, we've been working on a comprehensive planning guide for the long path. Basically, what we've done is we've taken the route of where we think the long path should go, starting in New York City, going through the Palisades in New Jersey, cutting through Harriman, through Minnewaska, across the Catskills, up to the Mohawk, pushing north across the river, all the way up to the high peaks. And with this planning guide, we have identified every single parcel of land that we would need to protect. So what's really exciting now is it gives our conservation committee the ability to focus their efforts on prioritizing the essential land parcels that are the most threatened, so that we can protect the whole long path. And for this year, we've got 2 key parcels, one in Greene County and one in Schoharie County, that we're going to focus with our partners on protecting so that we can ensure we have a contiguous trail for everybody to enjoy. In addition to some of the exciting on-the-ground projects, we're also hard at work planning this year. And I know planning is not as glamorous as trail building and buying land, making new state forests, but we're really busy on working on an updated strategic plan. The board is working with the staff to develop strategic goals and then working to define how each of those functional program areas of the organization are going to contribute towards accomplishing those goals and developing metrics to track our success. We really want to look at laying out the next 5 years of the organization, what we're going to be doing, how we prioritize our work, so that we can have clear communication both with our volunteers and our staff and our partners, as well as our supporters. We think it's really important to have a roadmap of where we're going and what we want to do. In 2022, we're also going to be working with our partners at the PIPC, that's the Palisades Interstate Park Commission. And New York State has awarded the Trail Conference a grant to work with PIPC to do a trails plan for Harriman and Bear Mountain State Parks. Now, this isn't going to be a comprehensive trail plan to look at every single trail in every corner of the park. We have found that when you put together these large comprehensive plans, they sit on a shelf and they rarely get implemented. What we're going to be doing this time is we're going to prioritize the first 30 or 40 most important miles of trails in those 2 parks. That information is going to come from our volunteer leaders that are working on the ground, as well as our park partners. And then we're going to devise a plan on how to improve those trails for the public. There's a lot of opportunities to enhance access within Harriman and Bear Mountain State Parks. If you've been to Reeves Meadow anytime recently, the car lines are tremendous. And our partners are really looking to find ways to relieve those overcrowded trailheads, redirect users to new locations to explore the park. And we're going to be working with the folks in Harriman and Bear Mountain to come up with a plan to do that. And as I'm mentioning some of these things, Jennifer's been going to be popping up some examples of the type of work that we're going to be doing in the chat. Feel free to copy those and look at those throughout the week. They're really exciting to see the type of work that the organization is producing. I'm really proud of the work that the staff and the volunteers have put together. Additionally, the Trail Conference has gone through a great year in 2021, but we haven't been immune to some challenges. The Great Resignation, which we've all been reading about, has hit the Trail Conference pretty hard. In total, we've had 5 full-time employees resign, 1 part-time temporary member of the staff resign as well, and we've had 1 involuntary separation. I know that's a lot of change in a short period of time, but what we're experiencing is kind of natural during these unique times. If you take a step back and you think about it, back in March of 2019, our executive director left the organization. Then we had the pandemic come in 2020 and kind of shut down the world. And then as we've been going through this new normal, we're finding that people's priorities and desires and needs have changed. And this sudden flood of resignations, while it's challenging, it's actually to be expected given the circumstances within the organization of the last 3 years. And I've been really grateful for all of the amazing individuals have strengthened our organization and helped us through the last few years. We would not have been able to have gotten through this time without those individuals. And to be honest, I think we're a stronger organization now, having gone through all these challenges. So while it's sad to see our friends leave, we know that they're going to take their skills and their expertise and go make other organizations just as strong and successful as the Trail Conference, and we wish nothing but the best of luck to them. So over the past few months, we've been taking a step back and trying to figure out how can we rebuild this organization and make it even stronger than it has been in the past. And that's a really hard challenge because the last 2.5 years have been really, really successful. We've looked internally at some of our staff and we've given them the opportunities to move up into new positions. So we've got a new Associate Director of Stewardship. We've promoted Dr. Brent Boscarino to run our Ecological Stewardship Program. We've gotten the opportunity through funding to hire a seasonal field manager and trail builder to help have our volunteers have more support from our professional trail builders. And we've completed a search for a new trail steward coordinator. The Trail Conference has really pushed into the outreach and education area of our mission, with more and more users coming out to visit trails who may not have the same experience as some of our other trail visitors. We want to make sure that we're able to give them information and education about how to be safe, how to enjoy their experience responsibly, but more importantly, how to come back and do it again. So we're super excited that we're going to be able to have somebody coordinating those efforts. We have stewards that work along the Ashokan Rail Trail up in the Catskills. We also have stewards on selected high peaks in the Catskills, coordinating with the DEC. We've got stewards at Bear Mountain, stewards at Breakneck Ridge. We have stewards at Bear Mountain at the bottom of the Appalachian Trail. And along the old Croton Aqueduct, we've had a team of stewards working near the Croton Unique area. So we're super excited to have someone to help coordinate those efforts, also integrate some of our ecological stewardship information, so that not only can we teach people about being responsible, but also understanding what they're seeing in nature and what they're experiencing. And obviously, no updates would be complete without discussing our headquarters and how the organization continues to deal with the COVID challenge. In the short term, the schoolhouse will remain closed to the public, probably until the spring. We are allowing volunteers and staff to use the building, but we're being smart about it. We have an occupancy limit. We have safety protocols in place to help protect everybody. Through this whole experience, we've prioritized the health and safety of our volunteers and our staff and the community that we're serving. So we really take that seriously. We have successfully transitioned into a hybrid remote work environment. So, I know we all miss being together. And like Jennifer said, we wouldn't be able to have this meeting with the folks that are in Vermont if we were doing all of this just in our headquarters in Mahwah or another location. So we're really trying to leverage technology so that we can have the best of both worlds. What we've noticed is that meeting participation and attendance has increased with the use of video conferencing. We also have seen that staff morale and efficiency has improved with the use of new online tools and collaborations. We're able to share information, connect with volunteers in ways that we haven't been able to connect before. We're also looking to continue to figure out how to maximize these opportunities while striking a balance with getting back to being in person with people, being out in the field, finding a way to do kind of hybrid meetings where we have some people together in an office and some people that can meet, on a video conference. So we're really looking forward to another successful year. We're looking forward to continuing to learn and push the envelope and how this organization can be a more impactful organization when it comes to accomplishing its mission. But more importantly, we're really excited about bringing in new people to the organization, introducing them to who we are and what we do. And I'm excited. I think, what was it, 83% of the people on this call are already active with the organization, whether as a member or a volunteer. So we're super excited that you guys wanted to join us tonight and hear a little more about the plans for 2022. So I'd be glad to take any questions.
Yeah, so feel free, it's a small enough group to ask, or if you feel more comfortable typing it out, I'd be happy to share.
Yes, Carolyn.
Carolyn?
Oh, I think you're still on mute.
Sorry. In terms of the hybrid model for meetings and discussions, I'd just like to put in a plug for the voting members meetings to continue to be hybrid meetings.
Absolutely. We've had really great attendance in those annual meetings. I actually think we have had a greater participation with them by going virtual. So I do know, though, that our treasurer, Beth, she's the bird chirping in my ear to get us in person. So my goal is to have some combo meeting for her. It might be a board meeting, it might be the first members meeting, but my goal is to have a hybrid meeting where those who want to connect remotely can, and then those that would like to join us at a location will have the ability to do both.
Thank you, Josh.
You're welcome. Any update on the plans for property work around the conference, native plantings, ferns, and gardens? Yes, so our habitat helpers will get back out in the spring, taking care of the grounds. Right now, they're in a really exciting trial, or kind of like a beta mode, trying to propagate the native species that we're growing around the office. And so in the fall, they harvested all the seeds that they could, and all of the habitat helper volunteers that were interested are going to start to grow all of those species at home, and then have them available for the public to come and pick up from the office. So that's super exciting. We tested it last year, and the staff got all sorts of crazy cool plants, so we know it worked. But we're going to continue that program. What's also really exciting is, even through the pandemic, we had a lot of volunteers that wanted to come out, and because it was an outdoor activity, both in 2020 and 21, we were able to take care of our grounds. We were able to keep the building beautiful. So that's super exciting that we're going to be able to do that again in 2022. I think they sell the seeds in little packets. I don't know if it's available on the website, but I've seen them at the front desk. I will double check that, but I think they also sell them. But it's weird timing of when you have to plant them, because I was reading it one day and I think it said you had to put them in the ground super early. So I'm not sure about that, but I will find out.
And then Kay wants to know if we need any volunteers to help maintain the long path in Rockland County.
Okay, I don't know, but I will, if Jennifer could just take a note, we will check with Kevin McGinnis, our Long Path South chair, who is responsible for the long path through Rockland County, and we will find out what the status is. I'm sure we could always use help. but I will check on that and we will get back to you sometime later this week.
Anybody else have?
Ja- Well, Josh, from your summary, I just want to make sure I understand. Do the future plans indicate more involvement from the states, from state of New York to work with us? Is that what you were saying in your summary?
So yeah, so the state of New York has really been very aggressive in trying to collaborate with partners. They are investing money into recreational resources. Both governors, both the former Governor Cuomo and the current governor, really have put an emphasis on resupplying the Environmental Protection Fund, which is New York State's kind of large pot of money in the budget that supports the outdoors. There is a rumor, I think DEC may be getting 90, the opportunity to refill 90 vacancies on their staff, which would be tremendous. They have been operating at a deficit in terms of staffing for years. So the state of New York is investing in recreation, and they have identified that recreation is an economic driver for the state budget. People come to New York, they recreate, but they after they're done hiking or hunting or whatever else they're doing, they spend money in those local communities that they're visiting. And the state of New York has been very, very smart about how they are promoting that recreation. So we're seeing new opportunities. And again, not necessarily all that money comes to us, but for example, to Howes Trails, which is a professional trail building firm, has gotten an extension on a contract they have to build trails in both the high peaks and the high peaks and the Catskills. So we're super excited to see that investment, because the first project that they have slated for work in the Catskills is actually the Long Path as it leaves Minnewaska and enters into the southern part of the Catskills. So we're really encouraged to see that in New York. In New Jersey, we're trying to get things jump started. We've met with the New Jersey DEP commissioner, and we are working on, let's call it a re-education process about the importance of putting money into trails. And New Jersey has a little different approach to their outdoor recreation. They put a lot of their money into their Blue Acres program, which is actually focused on the New Jersey shore. So after Sandy, they redirected a lot of their funding to that particular resource. And I understand that, it makes sense, but we are advocating for trails. We are advocating with our land managers to reprioritize those opportunities. So what we're finding in New Jersey is that the local counties actually have more money available for investments in recreation. So in Morris County, we were awarded a contract to field the Conservation Corps crew to work on county parks. And we spent an entire season last year working on trails. They were so excited and thrilled with the productivity. They renewed the contract for 2022. So we're encouraged to see that type of investment by local municipalities. Bergen County has, I believe it's an upwards of $600,000 that is money from the Tennessee Gas Pipeline. So when the pipeline came through the county, they got a pot of money. Some of it was to be designated for land acquisition and some for restoration and improvements to recreation. So we're working with the county to help them identify priority projects that they can invest in. Again, not all that's going to come to us. Some of it will go to infrastructure like parking lots, improving trailheads, improving access onto their properties. But we've given them a menu of opportunities that we feel, whether it's us or another organization, would really enhance the outdoor experience of visitors to Bergen County public spaces. So we're really excited to work with them. They really want to engage with us. They've seen the work that we did at the Round Pole Reservation. So they really would like to be able to do more for their residents and visitors.
That's really terrific, because I think a lot of what we do, the public thinks the states do, but that's not the case.
Very true.
So thank you.
Great question. Phil would like to have you comment on any future technology updates.
Sure. So, technology is a really important part of the back end of how the Trail Conference remains successful. It is something that we've always tried to use to keep us ahead of the curve. In terms of the future updates, we're currently going through a road mapping process to help identify future systems that we think would enhance our ability to accomplish our mission. So right now we are working on some systems that have some challenges, and some of them also have some deadlines in terms of upgrades and updates. So we're looking to find the most efficient way to go ahead and update those systems, move into a system that will give us more functionality, greater ability to manage our data, pull data out. In terms of the interface with information on our website, that's going to be a part of this upgrade, is looking at how do we move information that we find important and share that with the public. The current system has some strengths. It also has some challenges. So that's one of the things that we're looking to try to figure out. The Hike Finder is a big chunk of the website. So we're going to continue to look at solutions. One of the pieces of information that we're looking at is how do we integrate a GIS system into our systems. We think that really is going to be important as we move down the line. It's become kind of a hot potato that nobody wanted to try to tackle that challenge. But I think we're at the point now where, going through some of the strategic conversations that we've had, the organization has identified that this is a real critical need for us. So we're really taking a long, hard look at how do we do this? What is the right way to do this so that we can support that functionality, not only for the staff and volunteers, but for the public.
Great. And then we have a question. Sorry. Jacqueline is interested to learn how the Trail Conference works with partners like AMC and Harriman, especially with new growth opportunities.
So AMC is one of our it's one of our largest member clubs. It is also one of the first member clubs that joined the Trail Conference. So they are a real valued partner. They bring to Harriman resources and expertise and opportunities that the Trail Conference doesn't do. So when you look at the new facilities that they're opening, when you see the opportunities that they're bringing people onto state lands and introducing them to the outdoors, we think that's incredible. So we work with them on how to integrate their stewardship activities into our stewardship activities. So through the local chapter, they're a maintaining club of the Trail Conference. But we've also had really good conversations with their executive team, up in Boston on Joy Street. And before John Judge resigned and left the position, we were looking at ways that we could collaborate. AMC has given the opportunity to host and manage the Reeves Meadow Visitor Center and the bookstore on the Palisades Parkway. So we work with them. Obviously they're selling our books and maps, but we're going to be working with them to try to figure out the best way to provide programming to the public that comes to those facilities. Reeves Meadow is one of the most popular sections of the park, and it has some challenges with the trails. It has some challenges with parking, and they are a logical partner for us to work with. Right now, the managers of the land, being PIPC, are looking to bring as many partners together to come up with solutions for the properties that they're charged with managing. I know that Joshua Laird, the new executive director at the PIPC, has been working with Eric Kulisade, the commissioner of state parks, to try to get Harriman and Bear Mountain to be the next significant location where New York State invests in their outdoor recreation. Over the past 10 years, former Governor Cuomo has really made investments in parks throughout the state of New York. Buffalo was the last location where they made significant improvements. Millions and millions of dollars have gone into new trails and new facilities and new resources for outdoor recreation. And the PIPC commissioner PIPC executive director and Parks Commissioner have a really aggressive plan to revitalize and revamp Harriman and Bear Mountain State Parks. So it's super exciting to see that. And they're going to need to have partners like the Trail Conference and AMC working together to help implement that vision. So I'm excited to work with them. Again, they're a member club that has been there since the first night back on that cold October night in 1920. So we really value and appreciate the local chapter that supports us. But same with their staff up in Boston.
Great, thank you. And then we had a question about if the Trail Conference had any interest in developing trails accessible to handicapped individuals, specifically trails designed as braille trails. There are existing trails which would easily be improved to make them more accessible.
So we have looked into this particular opportunity, and the challenge is we can make suggestions to land managers. Ultimately, that land manager is responsible for making the decision on whether or not that is the right use of their properties and their lands. It also comes up to maintenance and upkeep. We have found that, for example, there's a section of the Appalachian Trail was the first section that was ADA compliant and accessible of the Appalachian Trail on top of Bear Mountain. And building that was a technical challenge, but it was also very expensive. What we have found is it's also expensive to maintain. So part of the challenge is having those reoccurring funds that can continue to support the maintenance of those types of facilities. We've looked at some opportunities to create what we were toying with the idea of a Trails for All project in Bergen County that would connect the Round Pole Reservation with Continental Soldiers Field. And, again, we thought that we had a really great plan. But when we talked to our partners, they didn't see the demand from the public for those types of trails. So while we thought we had a great idea, a great initiative, part of the challenge is convincing the land managers who ultimately are responsible for the maintenance of those properties that it's a wise investment of their funds and the taxpayer funds. So we're going to continue to promote those ideas, promote those opportunities, but ultimately we are at the mercy of the land managers who get to have the final say. I do know that the Open Space Institute is working on a kind of a strategic framework that is geared towards making New York State lands more accessible for everybody, no matter who you are, no matter your color, your ethnicity, whether or not you have any mobility impairments, any other challenges. And this is something that's been addressed in that plan. And the idea is they are looking to submit this framework both to New York State Parks, New York State DEC, and the executive office. We've gotten initial buy-in that they're open to the framework. I actually have a meeting on Friday afternoon to review the proposal that we are going to be sending to those commissioners for their consideration. And I think this is going to be an opportunity to kind of push New York State to be more open-minded when it comes to those types of opportunities.
So I'm not sure if this was just a suggestion to add on to the Association of the Blind.
Yeah, we've worked in the past. At one point, we worked with I think it was the Christopher Reeves Foundation. They gave us support for work on the Appalachian Trail on top of Bear Mountain.
Right.
So making the case for the work is fairly easy when we have a good project. The challenge is, again, getting our land managers to see the opportunity. We were proposing a mobility impaired trail to leave from the bottom of Bear Mountain and connect to the Major Welch Trail to give individuals that may have mobility challenges an opportunity to get off of the paved path around Hessian Lake and move people up into the woods. And the funders actually didn't think it was a worthy project. They didn't think there was enough of a trail, enough of an experience in the woods to warrant funding. So we have ideas, we have locations where we think it might be something that would be attractive to users. But again, the key is getting funders and land managers to buy into what we're promoting.
Is there, you might have a direct, I don't think there's any more questions right now. Is there any questions, burning last minute